Hey, Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net. Thought I'd do a good video on why hip to shoulder separation. A lot of people ask, what is the point of hip to shoulder separation? Heard it before. Why? What's the purpose? Well, there's two purposes to it. The first purpose, and first of all, let's just talk about what it is. That means at front foot, my hips are separate from my shoulders. So typically my hips are open, shoulders are closed. You watch guys like Chapman, Jordan Hicks, any really hard throwers, immediately start to counter-rotate the trunk from the hip. So when the hip drives, the trunk is in a delay. Okay, so what that does is, once I break my hands and I start to counter-rotate, it gives me now time to drive energy forward. Okay, so if I was to break my hands and start to throw, I'd be wanting to throw before I had time to drive anything. So creating separation as early as we can gives the lower half time to generate energy. It's the only foot on the ground. I'm just standing here. I need to eventually get energy going that way. Yeah, I can fall, but eventually if I'm an elite, I need to accelerate that energy. And that's what delaying the trunk, hip to shoulder separation does. Because this is delayed, it's going to take more time to get up and get going. Now the back leg can start to help accelerate energy forward through the hip. Now, we got energy going. So that's the first key thing of hip to shoulder separation. I can get energy going now, specifically through the hip. And the reason we want it through the hip and not just down the mound is because of the other component of hip to shoulder separation. If I land and my hips are open and my shoulders are back, I create this sling. Basically, just get in this position, guys. Get in a full stride, push your hips up, bring your arm all the way back, and you're going to feel this tension running all the way from your hip bone, through your shoulder, through your elbow, into your wrist, specifically as you start to turn. Now, if I create that sling, that tension all the way through, like high velocity pitchers do, following all that linear power, then it's like a whip at that point. Except the whip, the handle's here, the leg was your arm moving the handle, and this is the body of the whip to the end of the whip. And if you keep that tension, which what optimal hip to shoulder separation does, all that energy pushing the hip or handle forward is what starts to stretch and carry and accelerate like the whip through the trunk, through the arm at the end. So, and then that's really important. If in trying to create hip to shoulder separation, if you're not maximizing linear power, then you're probably not separated enough. And if you hit front foot with all that power and you don't feel tension from your hip bone to fingertips, then you're probably not separating enough. There's some slack. There's some slack in your sling. And now when you got slack and you push or you throw the whip and there's slack, nothing happens. So what do? You go elsewhere. Well, you create a sling over here. I'm going to pull this and feel the tension through here and pull there. Pull through my oblique. Problems with that is it starts really dragging the arm to really create more of that sling or that stretch and that tension. Going to be a lot more effective if it's through the shoulders to the arm, because you'll have more tension with just the shoulders being closed as opposed to the arm having to be so far back. So it's a lot healthier, and potentially if we just see the hardest throwers in the world do it better, it's a lot more effective in throwing hard. So I hope that helps you understand why hip to shoulder separation, why it's so important to your health and to your performance. And if you like this, subscribe, follow us. A lot more videos on our YouTube channel. Check it out, and I'll keep working on more tips for you.